Good evening. Welcome to the stream. Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to another Gods and Generals live stream. Reynolds and Van Dor, numero 60. Welcome in. Welcome in on a Sunday night. Everyone watching this live, hello, welcome in. Everyone watching this back on YouTube, also hello, welcome in. I will just triple check the stream is working as intended. Only because I've had a few mishaps in the past, and now I just get paranoid about it. Okay, so it's working. So, welcome in. Afternoon, Tim. Afternoon. Or evening, wherever you're from. Welcome in. Anyone interested in what we've been getting up to previously on the streams, whether that's this series of streams or any previous series of streams, it's all on the big American Civil War Sunday stream playlist on the YouTube channel, so feel free to check that out. Yeah, so we're back to it. We are back at the Reynolds and Van Dorn generals, plus others. I have a good feel. I'm going to jump on the table, but I have a good feeling we'll get this done tonight. We'll get this all wrapped up. And then where we go next is I don't know. I don't know whether we have a think or we just do what I think we're going to do. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So yeah, we're almost done with these chaps. And then we'll actually get them glued onto some bases as well. Can't think which size these. Got some bases here, but we'll but yes, we are almost there. Hello, Tim. Anyway. It's been a long weekend for me, I tell you that. But yeah, I hope everyone's had a good week and a good Sunday, or a good weekend. Good week and a good weekend. David, hello, welcome in. And also, as always, if you're working on anything, let us know. Always interested to hear what we're up to. Yeah, I've done a fair bit of sort of house stuff this weekend, where it's we're getting the house plastered and painted in the next couple of weeks, or through the next couple of the weeks. So basically, that's just empty my. When I mean the house. Oh, pardon me. Oh, real yawny. I think it's because I haven't spoken that much recently, so now it's just making me yawn. Anyway, I'm having the front room plastered and painted, so that needed to all be emptied, which it is. But then it's meant the rest of the house is all just blocked up. So the sooner that's all dealt with, the better, really. But yeah, so but now we get to spend a nice Sunday sign off and do some painting. But yeah, I was looking at them a minute ago before I went live, and they're looking good. I'm happy with how they look. Yeah, it's just finishing them off, really. First thing I'm going to do is go in with a black wash. If I can find where that is. Yes, we'll go for a null wash. Anyone wondering? Citadel colour. Shade. Null. So, Tim, you're cracking on with Republican Romans. Nice one, mate. Nice one. I do like those sculpts, to be honest. I had a really interesting video concept, actually, which I need to... So I've recorded couple of videos. I just need to get on and edit them. I started editing them, and I lost the for some reason the file didn't like it, and I lost it. So I basically got to start from scratch now, which is fine, but just need to get on and do it. But no, someone's been talking recently on a couple of my videos. Oh, where's my... just talking about how they've started doing some sharps practice, and they were sort of talking about what box sets or that would be useful for it. So we were just talking about it, and then I thought actually it might be a cool little video idea. Just to put a video together of. Oh, I don't know why I'm yawning so much. I'm tired, to be honest. I'm putting a little video together of the sort of Perry plastic box sets, and then just my thoughts alongside them regarding trying to play some Sharks practice. I don't know. I thought it'd be quite a cool. Well, I'd quite like to give it a go. Because yeah, for anyone starting out with Sharks practice, it's a. They might, wonder where to start. I've always liked the idea of doing sort of army building videos. After Napoleonic Wargaming's YouTube channel, where he does videos on like how to collect certain armies, I really wanted to do that, but the American Civil War, there's not much flavour to it really, in regards to miniatures and stuff. So I thought perhaps doing like Sharks practice. For example, you could take, if you just get the rulebook up, for example, and have a look at what they recommend for the American Civil War army sort of force compositions, just taking that essentially, and then just be like, well, how can we create this with the box sets we've got from Perry's, for example. The reason why I choose Perry's is just plastic. Obviously, if we went down the route of doing metals, then that's near infinite, isn't it? Because there's so many metal miniatures out there and they're all fab. But yeah, I thought it might be a nice little thing to do of just, if I was starting out a Perry Miniatures box set now, if I was starting out a Perry Miniatures or a Sharks practice army now, what would I suggest, or what would I go for? And I was, for example, saying about going for the Perry Miniatures American Civil War infantry, the sort of generic one. Because I think if you went for that, you get marching poses in there, which is good for line infantry. You get skirmishing poses, which are good for skirmishers. And again, people that may be not familiar with the range or something like that, they might not know that. So yeah, I thought that might be a good little one to do. So yeah, David, try to recover from a drunken Friday, the 13th, by second session on Saturday. Not a good plan. Almost recovered now. You tried to double down, did you? So it's an admirable attempt, David. Gotta say, shame it didn't quite pan out. Tim says yes, do. Yeah, I might give it a go, because it also is quite a cool and interesting video I'd quite like to do. Hello Mark, welcome in. I assumed you'd be busy tonight, mate, but I appreciate you popping by. I might chat to you later. If you're going to be missing a bit of the stream because you're busy, then that's not a problem. Whilst I'm using this Known oil for these, just where the contrast paint's sort of pulled slightly. Sometimes it just doesn't quite cover the primed area, so you end up just getting little white patches pop through. So I'm just going to kind of glance over them just to bring it a little in. It's a good cover up as well, washes. I remember when I back many moons ago, I was collecting Warhammer 40k Tau Crute, and I found a painting tutorial where he basically just did a few base colours, and then just used Agrax Earthshade and washed it. And yeah, going from someone who didn't know how to paint miniatures to using a wash like that, it was revolutionary. I was taken back. Oh no, that's what I do not want to do with these miniatures. I keep dropping them because I'm worried they're going to chip. David said, yes, Tim on Napoleonic Wargaming has done virtually all plastic boxes. It's a good reference. I find his Napoleonic videos fantastic. Every time I get tempted into the Napoleonic era, I use his as a good sort of reference on sort of how to start a black. Obviously, he covers black powder more than anything. However, it's it's fantastic. And you can kind of, admittedly, he does like he has like a £200 budget on his older videos. Now I think it's about £250. but it's like how you can build a bolt action, black powder army. How you can build that for £250. And yeah, that's I really want to do that sort of video because I think it's a great concept. But obviously with American Civil War, it's a little bit different to do. You could do it to a certain extent, like maybe taking a historical formation or something like that, or maybe if you wanted to go early war, you'd probably be suggesting metal sculpts for that. But I feel like Perry Miniatures have just got a solid grasp on that. Obviously, we've got some stuff from Warlord Games now in the resin, but I mean, cost-wise, it's always going to be cheaper going with Perry's. And I love Perry Miniatures. I really like them, but I wouldn't mind a bit more. I wouldn't mind another manufacturer reaching out into the plastic game. Obviously, there's lots of 3D sculpts and stuff online for like 3D printing and whatnot, but I wouldn't mind another company taking it on and releasing some plastics. Because again, Warlord Games stuff, the Forgotten Glorious range, that's really nice. But it's when you're looking at the same cost as metals. Yeah, I just can't really be convinced by it. Again, they're fantastic miniatures, but I want to pay. I wouldn't mind paying similar to Perry Miniatures costs, or maybe not even that. Like if Wargames Atlantic took on a American Civil War range, that'd be nice. That'd be really nice. Which, I mean, like, after seeing them partnering up with Cano Wargames, who knows? Maybe we'll see. Maybe we'll see something in the future. I mean, if I had the money and the know-how, I would look at investing in trying to get some 3D print. I want to do some 3D sculpts at some point. I want to go down that route of producing some Mag Civil War sculpts. It's just how I go about that. I'm well aware. When I mean sculpts, I'm talking 3D printing stuff. I'm well aware there's lots of sculpts out there at the moment from different ranges. Battle Cat, Studio Historia, just to name a few. I know there's some more out there. So yeah, I kind of feel like if I wanted to go out and do a range, I'm competing against them, and I don't see much point in that. You know, whereas I would like to maybe do something a bit more unique. But I mean, that's a whole other. That's something for me to think about. Yeah. Mark said I'll be lurking. No problem, mate. No problem. You got a busy one, but I appreciate it, mate. David, I found out what happened to my Bacchus order. It got sent to my old address. New order dispatched and address changed. That's what a bum. But also, at least it's been sorted now, and hopefully you'll be getting your order soon, mate. I mean, at least you got to the bottom of it, but that's a pain in the ass, if you ask me. Tim, what's the name of the new company for Meg Civil War figures mentioned last week, I think? Ooh. Are you possibly thinking of Wargames Atlantic making some US cavalry mounted and dismounted? Is that what you're possibly talking about, Tim? If more, let me have a think. Another range of. I can't think. Again, there's plenty of companies out there doing sort of STLs. So digital sculpts that you can buy. There's plenty of companies doing that. And I've played that game. You know, I used to collect a lot of plastic Perrys, and then 3D printing came along, and I was hooked on it. But now I'm shifting back into it, where I'm like actually just buying some plastic models and gluing them and spraying them up is so much faster and easier than doing 3D printing, in my opinion. Obviously, my opinion on that might shift again at some point, but so yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing another. But yeah, let me have a think. Mentioned about it. Oh yeah, I need to paint this guy's hair. Just remember, this is Wadsworth, who's grey. So I've gone grey, and I'm going to go in and highlight it with an off-white, just to give him a real whitey grey. Right, let me... David said, and Tim, Napoleonic Wargamer is a nice bloke. I used to go to Sheffield Club, both with him and Alex Stormsteel. I've never met Tim from Napoleonic Wargames, but he comes across as a really nice chap. So if I ever got the privilege of playing with him, I'd be over the moon. Maybe one day. Maybe I'll have to build up my Napoleonic collection and then tempt him with a game, perhaps. But yeah, no, he comes across as a really nice chap. Right. Quite like this is one of the Perry Miniatures mounted banner chaps. I'll have to put the torch on the thing. And yeah, I bought them when they came out, and ooh, that light makes the painting not look very good. Let me just wait to show that again. Yeah, I got them when they came out, but just never ended up getting around to using them. So this is the old Wadsworth's going to be the first chap using it, which is and because they are nice sculpts. They are nice sculpts. Oops, I've not painted his belt buckle in. We'll just pretend we never saw that. This is my Confederate that I've converted to a Union officer, so I think that's fine though. So I got a couple of the plastic cavalrymen that I've just put as banner flag holders. Works well enough, I think. All right. Right, let's get back to the chat. Thomas, hello, welcome in. Welcome in, Thomas. I hope you're doing well, mate. I did say earlier on, but yeah, just let me know what you guys are working on. I think a couple of you have already said. David tracking down his Bacchus order and Tim hammering away at some Republican Romans. So, right, let's have a think about American Civil War miniatures then. The Kickstarter's just kicked off about something, wasn't it? Or am I just thinking back to War Games Atlantic? Yeah, I can't remember, to be honest. I can't remember. Maybe I'll have to go back through the stream and if I find last stream, if I find it. Because yeah, if it's a new set of actual miniatures, I'd be very interested in that. Very interested. Again, I'll be interested to see what comes from Warlord Games, if eventually it does. I'll tell you what, when these guys are on the bases, they're gonna look real nice. Because right, let's get my. I've not written it down again. Let's just give it a Google, shall we? Right, there we go. So we've got Reynolds, which is going to be on this big base here, which is a core command. I could go bigger again. Don't think I want to. Let me just... Let's see what we got here. I think that's the same size base, yeah. So I think Corps Command and Army Command will be on those bases, leaving Division and Brigade on the smaller bases. Maybe. Who knows? We'll just have to play with it and see. We'll have to play with it and see. What's going on here? Oh, I've missed a load of chat. My chat got stuck. Right. Tim said, I think it was a new member that mentioned it. Who did we have with us last time? We did have someone new along last time. I can't remember. Yeah, we were talking about greatest games. David said no paint for me, just more Joy of 6 prep this evening. Ooh. Mike Blake, hello, welcome in. How are you? How are you, Mike? Tim, don't think so, Tom. I just checked them out and I only saw Perry ACW, which happened to be on sale. Yes, Tim says, I think it was a Kickstarter. Thomas says, working on some American Civil War kit bashes and painting some horses for the Great Escape game mounted US cavalry kits. That's Kickstarted, finished tonight. That might have been the Kickstarter we were talking about then, Tim, was the Great Escape. Oh, am I talking about War Games Atlantic? Yeah. I'm thinking of Great Escape Games, but I'm talking about War Games Atlantic. Unless they're produced by War Games Atlantic. I'm getting all confused. But yes, that was the Kickstarter we were talking about, was the US Cavalry. David, if it ain't 6 mil, I tend not to notice. Not a problem, mate. Not a problem. Thomas, I know what it was, Matt. We said about using Dead Man Hands US Cavalry figures for US Cavalry. Yeah, we got to it. I thought it was something along those lines. Yeah. Yeah, because you mentioned a couple of characters would be suitable for cavalry, didn't you? I don't know why my... Just checked my YouTube and it says I've got 1,000 notifications, which can't be right. Right. So, yeah, we've got Reynolds, Wadsworth, who's divisional, and then we've got Meredith and Lysander Cutler. So, yeah, we'll have a. I don't think division commanders will go on a small base, to be honest. No, in fact, they're not. They're not going on there. The fool's errand, we won't do it. Oh. Yeah, sorry, David. Shakos and Sprues have announced an American Civil War. Oh no, sorry, Shakos and Sprues. I'm on about Tomahawks and is it Tomahawk Studios? They just announced an American Civil War rule set, didn't they? I don't know, Keppies and something. Who knows? Yeah, Shakers and Sprues dropped in last week. Did he mention anything on the subject? I can't remember. Maybe when I got some time, I'll go through last stream and have a sniff at it. Tomahawk Games. I don't know what they're called. Studio Tomahawk. There we go. So yeah, they have announced. Maybe it's not Tomahawk then. Who does let me find out. Let me find out. Do you know what? I'm not gonna, because we'll get lost on that one. But do you know, like they do lots of skirmish-based games. Is it like Muskets and Tomahawks is one of theirs, and then they've got another one. They all share that name, so they've got like Shakos and something from the Napoleonic era, and I think they've just announced the Kepi and But I can't think of the company. Anyway, let's move on a minute. We'll get there. Oh, right. So, got to remember that paint on this tray here is fabric paint and not this one. Cappies and Bayonets is coming through North Star. Thank you. So North Star, is it Crusader that they stock? I mean, they stock everything. Sash and Saber, I can't remember what the actual range is called. I wonder if they're bringing some Cappies and Bayonets. Yeah, I wonder if they're bringing some miniatures with it, or they just tying in what they normally have. It's not even on their website yet. Oh yeah, Cappies and Bayonets. Oh yeah, so they're using the Crusader miniatures range. That's what they're selling bundles for the Crusader miniatures. Yeah, it looks like they are adapting muskets and tomahawks from Mags of War. It's not a rule set I've played, but you always get excited when they just, mutter about new ranges or whatever, or new rule sets, because I get excited thinking they might bring in a rule set out for it. All right, let's do the gold, and then yeah, maybe that's it. Where's my really fine point brush? Let's go for this one. I have to have another go at repainting my other Confederate generals, because I'm really liking how this guy looks, but I think I'd rather play with Longstreet. Maybe we'll just have to make an effort to get old Van Dorn out and about. And to be honest, the divisional and corps commanders hold on the same base. I know Van Dorn is meant to, for this scenario, be an army command, but I can use them in games as divisional if I want. Mainly because if I'm running a corps on the table, I'm gonna want the old war horse running it, I think. Right. It's looking nice though. I do like how the gold comes out. I really like it. Trying to spend a bit of time getting it nice as well. Huh. Did I do his back bit? No. Just thinking that Confederate does have a cord on his hat, which I've not coloured in, so I'm wondering about going back and painting it. Here's Van Dorn himself. David says there's an American podcast I listen to, forget which, where the French-Indian War is a favourite. They use muskets and tomahawks. Oh, nice. So, what is muskets and tomahawks? Is that just a skirmish-based system, I assume? Attempt to be really neat with his shoulder bars. Be nice to go all the way around his shoulder bars, but I think as long as we get something on there, then you'll be able to see them and know what they're like. Right, I've not painted. Why have I painted him first? Alright. Another couple down. Dave says, I'm not sure the French-Indian War had much in the way of mass battles. No, you're right, you're right. Even looking at the American War of Independence, like comparing it to the American Civil War, the armies were just not very big. Maybe the American Civil War just stands out as a surprisingly large conflict. You know, at the start of the Civil War, what the American army was it 22,000 people? And yeah, and then you look at McDowell's army of, is it 75,000? No. 30. It's about 36,000. Unless I was right with my first guess of I'm talking about first bull run, so I didn't clarify. It's either they had 30,000 troops or they only ever committed 30,000 to the battle. Be easier if I just looked at it, to be honest, rather than guessing. All right. Hmm. Wonderful. All right. Are we going to try go with a real light? Got my heater back on. I keep getting really cold. I don't know if white's going to be a bit too light for this chap's hair. Maybe if I see what grey. I will somewhere. The question is where. Have I been putting all my paints away? Have I been helpful myself? Hmm. Um, maybe we'll give white a go. David, you reckon it's 24,000 aside? Yeah, it might be. Oh, I need to actually finish. Let's do this guy's hair. I'm going to try pick out what I can. trying to give him sort of white hair. It's sort of working. Yeah, that'll do. Happy with that, I think. Dave says, whereas Fredericksburg is about 200,000 people. That's both sides. Yeah, I know. That's a monumentally sized armies, isn't it? You've got to try and keep them functioning as well. It's mad. What a task. Oh, here we go. Thomas says 32,000 Confederates at Bull Run and 35,000 Union. Thomas, I only remember because I'm putting together a first Bull reenactment gear. Yeah, am I right in thinking that they only reckon they committed like half of that, though? You know, McDowell left a fair few troops out of the battle. But then supposedly the Confederates did as well. Again, it was still apparently quite evenly matched what was committed to the battle. The blue coat on the black horse is very cool. Thank you, Mark. Yeah, I think so. That is Wadsworth, who's our divisional commander for First Corps. So yeah, we are. Can't remember what I'm doing now. I thought about where I've done. Oh, I need to do Van Dorn. Yeah, sort of his white collar. I did it in an apothecary white, so a contrast paint. But I'm thinking of trying to just touch it up a little with actual white to brighten it up a bit. Stand out a bit more. Which has worked. Do the same on his officer. I don't know who he's meant to be because I've given him a white collar, this chap. Which generals had white collars in the Confederacy, I believe. So although this guy's sort of an aide to Van Dorn, he's technically an officer, general based off his collar. Which maybe I shouldn't have done that. Maybe I should have kept him as just a generic officer. He could have been like an aide, and if that'd be the case, blue collar for the infantry. I am going to paint this guy's cord in. I'm going to paint it in white, and then probably just come back and hit it with a blue contrast, so it matches sort of the other blue components too. Again, like the infantry kind of had the blue facings, didn't they? So and it's cool to see having that just little flick of blue in there. Should look nice. Thomas says most of the fighting was done by 2 divisions from each side. Tyler's and Hunter from the Union took the brunt of the fighting. So yeah, David, so less than 20,000 troops aside committed at First Manassas. I was recalling the scenario I played, which gave options to commit a few brigades that didn't actually fight. Yeah, fair enough. Right, we are going to... Let's go in here. So yeah, I didn't highlight Van Dorn's sash, which I've done in gold. So I'll just go to there. Ooh. Voila. All right. So we'll have to we're gonna have to varnish these chaps. Now I can't be bothered to hand varnish them with paint. I used to hand paint them. Only because a few times I've spray can varnish, it's gone terribly wrong. And it's never looked good. But I think I'm going to risk it. Because I've got some infantry behind me as well. We did in the last set of streams, which need varnishing still. Obviously, I think maybe what I had issues with in the past is just sort of humidity and moisture in the air. So maybe that's something I've got to be careful with. But yeah, I don't know, maybe chuck your recommendations down in the chat for spray varnishes. I know I've used army paint because also I'm conscious they can come across quite shiny, which I don't want. Anyway, right, Wadsworth. So this guy does now belong to Cutler, and then Wadsworth gets the running. We are now cutting them off the base, the painting stands, and slapping them on the bases. Hallelujah. Maybe I will keep them together. Right. Now we just got to figure out how we want these chats posed. Try and make a little bit of a scene of that. Thomas says, I don't varnish minis, but mates have said wood varnish works best. Don't know if that's right or not. Ooh, I don't know. I don't know on that one, Thomas. I don't varnish miniatures normally. Just metal miniatures I've had in the past, the paint comes off. And I just don't want to do all this hard work and then have it rub off if I'm a bit hands-on with it. So anyway, here's Cutler. Let's glue this chappy on. Although I'm thinking of... Oh, I'm going to swap them back just because this guy's... Right. Actually, I could give him the not sponsored Gorilla Glue. There you go, there's Cutler. Sorted. And then Wadsworth. Tell you what, let's move this guy over. Tom says I find that a good coat of primer and 2 coats of paint for a few days apart deals with most of the chipping. I only had 1 mini chip, and that's because I didn't prime them. Yeah, I know leaving primers for over the 24-hour period is meant to be a big difference. Right, what's everyone's thoughts on them, guys? Should I try position them a bit better? Don't know. He's kind of waving his cap at someone, but I don't know how to have it. Maybe it looks like he's pointing to that officer. Obviously, this is just my brigade command cutler. So he's just stood there with his bannerman. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to have these. David says the scenario book I use is Greg Wagman's All Quiet Along the Potomac. Gives order of battles with everyone who fought or was present, even if not committed. Tom says, look good, Matt. Given an order to his ADC. Yeah, I think you're right. It does look like that. You there, get the boys up. Alright, so that's Wadsworth and Cutler done. Let's get Meredith sorted. I have the same divisional figures for my Union painted and varnished them for the same reason, and even using a matte varnish, they still come out glossy. Yeah. Sorry to go back to David's comment. Yeah, spray varnish. Only problem I had were low temperature. It frosted. Yeah, I've had it go grainy before. But yeah, Tim, like that's the problem I've had is they just, no matter how sort of matte varnish I've gone for, they still just come out glossy, and I don't like that. But then maybe I just got to, maybe I just got to do it and just suffer with the slightly shiny models. Yeah, a long time ago I was painting up some Kings of War. I bought some stone golems from them because I was doing a fantasy dwarf army at the time, and I was like, yeah, let's get some stone golems. And yeah, they were just shiny. They always looked it. Yeah, it was a shame. I didn't like it. But there we go. Is Meredith. So yeah, his riders catching up to him, maybe. You know. They'll look a bit better when the flags are on as well. Right, now this is the tricky one, is getting 4 figures on the base. and not having them look. I think maybe 4 figures might be a bit extreme, and maybe not something I do in the future. But the reason why I've done it this time is because they're from the same pack from Warlord Games, so it'd be nice to have them on the same base. Just because I fancy doing. Oh, this guy's falling over as he chips. No, fancy doing a video about him. So. Right, let's have a look at this. So this is the big chief himself, and he's going to have an officer, and then maybe that. Yeah, I think that works. David said, never had glossy matte varnish on my little guys. Always spray. Not going to paint varnish onto 1,000 spiky minis. Just destroying brushes. Yeah. I just paint them because I got a paint on varnish for whatever reason. I got a paint on varnish and just found it actually worked quite well, and I didn't think it left it that glossy. And yeah, I've just always had a bit of a problem with spray. But yeah, it's a lot of faff. I don't know if that looks a little too regimented, having them all sort of evenly spaced, but maybe I'll bring him back. Again, looks like Reynolds is talking to his ADC, or whoever that guy is. So yeah, this is going to be Reynolds. He's got a big beard on him. Yeah. Nice. So yeah, I think 4 miniatures is doable. I think yeah, four chaps on a base. But there we go. That's the Union sorted. So we got our basically first division, first corps, as well as first corps command. Obviously, I could go down the route of second division, but I'm thinking I can't think why I would want. Oh, actually, no. If I was playing a nice size game of Pickett's Charge or Black Powder, I might want a couple of divisions. So I could. Yawn. Who else have we got? Yeah, we got the second division. Oh, and we got a third division. See, second division second division was commanded by Brigadier General John C. Robinson, second division of First Corps. And in that he has Brigadier General Gabriel Poole. Oh my god, there's a lot of people there. Anyway, so 16th Maine, 13th Massachusetts, 94th New York, 104th New York, 11th Pennsylvania, 107th. Then 2nd Brigade is Brigadier General Henry Baxter. Yeah, maybe. Or 3rd Division under Doubleday, which has Brigadier General Thomas Rowley for 1st Brigade. They've got some Pennsylvania reserves, as well as the 80th New York Regiment, 2nd Brigade under Roy Stone, 3rd Brigade under Stannard. Huh. So yeah, if I wanted to add another division from First Corps, I could do, or I just go for a different corps. Mike Blake says 2nd Division, do it. David says the ADC is saying mind the sharpshooters. Over in that wood line, does that look like a sharpshooter? Thomas says you could do what I'm going to do and collect the 1st division of each corps. I think that's a nice idea. The reason why I say that is you can get different corps flags on the table and they just look cool. So I've got 1st Corps Commander, but maybe I'll just do 2nd. Maybe I'll do Hancock and his 1st Division. Blimey, yawn. I'm yawning. Right. Let's go Army of Potomac. He's second corps. Of course, yes. So if we went for second corps, we got a division under Caldwell. As well as the... If we went for first division of second corps, Thomas. Got the Iron Brigade. But first division of 2 corps is got 4 brigades in it. Now it's nice just having these sort of 2 brigade divisions because I can get more divisions on the table. Thomas started doing that and he just got second corps. Yeah, that's why you started second corps, Thomas. Makes sense. Passionate for the Irish. Yeah, so David's saying first corps is under strength, it gets a bit so easier. Yeah. Again, I don't mind doing a couple of brigades. But it would be nice to have different corps flags on the table. But then I guess the miniatures don't change. Like, I'm only going to have so much infantry. I'm probably not going to go out there and just collect corps worth of infantry. I can just have the same block and rename them every battle or something. But the commands themselves would be cool to do. Just for the flags. So what I'm going to do, I want to put the flags on tonight, but I'm thinking that I want to varnish it, and I don't know if I want to spray varnish with the flags on. Don't know if it matters. It might be fine. It might be fine. I'm looking forward to getting Reynolds, Van Dorn's flag, just because it's red. I think that would look cool on the table. Like a solid red flag with stuff on. Right, okay. So this guy's actually not finished. I've got to do his little bands, but we'll glue them on. And I can come back in a minute. Actually, I'm going to change this up a bit, where I'm going to have banner at the back. This guy far left, Van Dorn there. I don't want them all looking the same sort of. So yeah, I kind of gone for a 3 up front look. And then the standard behind. I really like how I've gone for the 2 different colours for the officers. I don't know, I'm very, very happy with how these generals have turned out. Really happy. Really happy. Again, the camera, having the light on the camera I'm using makes it look a little bit worse than it is. But trust me when I say they look about average, and I'm in the grand scheme of things, or in the grand world of miniature painting, they're all right. They're not winning any golden demons, but they look fantastic. I'm excited actually to get on and do some more HQs actually. So we do have a few more. So I've got a couple more Warlord game stuff. So which I was going to paint up when we were doing these. I was going to paint them at the same time, but I didn't. So, and I was thinking, oh, well, maybe I just put these 2 chaps on a base and have them as a brigade command or something. But what I might be able to... What are they? Oh, yes, we've got a Union command there and Confederate. So maybe I'll pull out a couple of Perry's plastic cavalry and turn them into standard bearers, and then just do a couple more brigade commands. These chaps on foot, whether I'll tie them into a regiment, or maybe I'll do some brigade on foot, brigade commands on foot, could be an option. I like the idea of doing some brigade command on foot as well and not having them all mounted. Anyway, the only thing about 1st Division, 2nd Corps at Gettysburg is that the 3 New York regiments of the Irish Brigade were merged into 1 battalion. So I guess you could run them as a real small brigade. What else have we got? Unless I just go for 11th Corps. Wait. Yeah, I could do 11th Corps, to be honest. Purely because you got O. Howard, O. Howard, Oliver Otis Howard, who's a cool chap. Hello, Grim. Welcome in. The Irish Brigade were not a thing by Gettysburg. I'm sure they weren't much after Gettysburg, but yeah, you're right. They were whittled down, and they did some heavy fighting at Gettysburg as well, didn't they? So they didn't get to stay clear of any of the tough fighting. But hello, Grim. Welcome in. Yeah, so we could look at doing 11th Corps commands because, for example, if I take 1st Division, which is Brigadier General Francis Barlow, you've got 2 brigades there. 2nd Division, you've got 2 brigades. 3rd Division, you've got 2 brigades. So yeah, actually, that might be a nice one to do. Just take 11th Corps. Again, not so worried about the painting up a load more miniatures. However, just for the sake of doing commands, because I could do 1st Division, which will give me a couple of brigades. So that's another 3 bases. So yeah, maybe. Or then, so we got 11th Corps, or we look at 2nd Division is under 1st Corps is 2 brigades. Okay. Yeah, okay. We'll have a think because I've got the flags for 1st Corps in general, like the whole entirety of 1st Corps. So we could, if we've got the flags there, it saves buying others. But I guess if we're gonna say sod it and do 11th Corps, we're gonna have the we'll have all the flags for 11th Corps as well. Thomas said at the Battle of Gettysburg, a colonel stopped the Irish Brigade and asked what regiment they were. The soldiers replied, "This is what's left of Meagher's Mahar's Irish Brigade." Yeah, it's sad to think they just get whittled down so low, really. Barlow or Barlow's Knoll, I see. Barlow was despised by the Irish Brigade, didn't support them at Antietam. Again, another heavy fight for the Irish. Anyway, let me put what we got here. So yeah, I think I'm gonna let me put the big dogs up together, and then yeah, Wadsworth, and then so here you go. You got 1st Corps Command, 1st Division, 1st Corps Command, Wadsworth, and then you've got Meredith, 1st Division, 1st Corps, 1st Division, 1st Brigade, which is the Iron Brigade, and then we've got Lysander Cutler, which is 1st Corps, 1st Division, 2nd Brigade, and that's what like the likes of 14th Brooklyn under Cutler. So yeah, we've got this guy's. We just do this guy's headband, and then we'll call them there, which is nice. And then we'll go on to the next project. Right, I need to think about Tidal Wave is the colour I go for, so let's give that a go. I just put my finger in some paint that I have. 11th core problem, you'll have to learn how to pronounce Krzyzanowski. Krzyzanowski. Yeah, Krzyzanowski. Tell me how I'm doing. Well, let's have a look at 11th core, and if we went, so we got O Howard, which I've got a model for Perry Miniatures, so we've got at least that ticked off. We've got a model painted for that already. And then yeah, you've got the 1st Brigade of 1st Division, so Barlow would be 1st Division. Colonel Leopold von Gilsa, which is 1st Brigade. And then you've got Brigadier General Albert Ames' 2nd Brigade. 2nd Division is General Adolf von Steinwehr. With 1st Brigade, Colonel Charles Coster and Colonel Orland Smith. Oh, here we go. 3rd Division, Major General Karl Schurz. I want to say Schurz. And then he was wounded July 1st. And Brigadier General Alexander Schimmelfennig. That's a pronunciation. Oh yeah, there we go. I've just... Grim's brought up, don't forget Schimmelfennig, as I was talking about him. Yeah, so he's 1st Brigade of 3rd Division, and then yeah, Colonel Vladimir Krzyzanowski. And then some artillery. So yeah, I think 11th Corps would be cool. Right, anyway, we're painting this guy. Let's get on with this a minute. There you go. He's got a blue band on his head now. Shirts is pronounced shirts. Yeah, just this guy here just put a little blue band on his hat because he's infantry. And to be honest, I think the blue looks quite nice on these. I've done the sergeant stripes and that. Corporal and sergeants. All right. Okay, so got some glue on the table. Let's get that up. Right, where we are. From my German lessons long ago, says Thomas. Thank you. We'll get there. If I'm going to go down 11th Corps route, we'll have to figure it out. But I mean, £10, I think, from Flags of War for the commands for corps ain't too bad. So, we'll have to... Because also, I've got so many figures. I've got so many generals and stuff. I'm sure I could piece together some commands. And obviously we've got some more coming from Warlord Games at some point, which I might be able to piece together another few commands, whether that's some division or brigade. So I'll need Howard's for the core commands, but I've got Perry Miniatures for him. Again, with the Union, it's a little less. Well, yeah, I don't need to have as many figures on the thing if I'm going for core flags. If I'm going for the flag system, then you'll know what the commander is just based off his flag. Confederates is where. Oh, excuse me. Confederates is where maybe it comes in a bit more, but also I'll just know what commanders they are from sight. You know, if Longstreet's there, I'll know he's going to be core command. So yeah, let's talk about what we're going to be doing on the next stream, because we've got plenty of time to kill. And at the moment, I don't... Actually, no, we can go through this. So we've got some Union Corps. These are my Union HQs I've got at the moment. Obviously, these need to be rebased. So, do we have? We have... Obviously, I've not written any names on, but that is... There's Otis, Oliver Otis Howard there, because he's missing an arm. So that chap will be there. That's Dan Sickles. That is a generic Union officer, which will be handy. I don't know who that is. I've got him painted up as Mead. I've written Mead on the bottom. Which, I mean, I guess he looks like Mead. Well, I mean, I've decided to make him look like Mead. I can't remember what this figure is from. That's from a company. I can't remember who, but I've sort of painted him as Grant. So if we wanted to... That's Hancock. Generic officer, generic officer. She liked how I did the flag. Yeah, I really liked how I'd done the flag on it. So it'd be nice to actually chuck them on a base at some point. But they are the boys from the 20th Maine, the brothers. So yeah, we could probably... that's Sykes. There we go. I've actually written on the bottom of the base there. Nothing on that one. Nothing on that one. Mead. Some generics. And that was that's the cool miniature from Perry Miniatures. You get them if you buy a bundle from them for something. Anyway, right. Let's have a look at that. I see what looks like Franklin. So it's grim. I hate painting furled flags. You did a good job there. Thank you, Tim. Something you could do, Matt, is do if you need to fill time, and it's technologically possible, is show some work from the Facebook group. I certainly can do. I don't know if I want to attempt that right now, but yeah, I can set something up where I can set up a scene and we can. It's just a matter of me sharing a screen on my computer with the stream, and then I can just go on the Facebook and show it off. Because yeah, you guys actually been doing a lot of work on the Facebook page, and I really appreciate that. Sharing off all your workings and stuff, which is really nice. So yeah, thanks for that, guys, because I do enjoy seeing it. And I guess, I don't know if you guys have the same, but like I find it spurs me on to do stuff. So I like seeing what other people are getting up to. I'm going to show, yeah, I'll show the flag again because I was happy with it. I can't remember if there's sculpted lines in there or not. I'm not sure there is, but yeah. So I think this is the North. Am I right in thinking? Does anyone recognise these miniatures? Are these the North Star special range they do? No, WWS Wargames Illustrated. Do they do a selection of miniature ranges? So yeah, that's the Chamberlain brothers. So you've got Joshua Chamberlain and Thomas, is it? So yeah. Oh, Joshua, yeah. So yeah, I'll have to chuck them on a command base, even though they're regimental command. Maybe I'll chuck them on. Giants in miniature. Thank you very much, Mike. Yeah, I'll have to chuck them on a base together, perhaps. Yeah, and then I do have a couple of the Perry Miniatures generic generals. So maybe I can put them on as aids. So yeah. But yeah, I'll have a look at the Facebook thing, because yeah, you guys have been posting a load of stuff and it's great. So it'd be nice to show that off. So I'll have a look into that. And maybe we'll just do it as a bit of a segment. Do like a little 5-minute thing every session, every stream. Anyway, right, let's chuck these back here a minute. So we've got some... And then... Because basically I bought someone's collection of American Civil War miniatures. And at the time I owned every Perry Miniatures command, metal command. And then when I bought this collection, they had every Perry Miniatures command in there. So I basically doubled up everything. So I could use that. I can use that to just expand on the commands. David says, is Dan Sickles' leg a casualty base? Yeah. I'll have to do that. Just a little bloody leg on the floor. So, right, going on to next week. I was going to think of doing a choice like a poll for next stream, but there's a unit of infantry I really want to get on with, and that is some infantry, the Warlord Games Confederate infantry. Purely because I bought it a long time ago, and I've not actually got around to doing them. And as you know, I've done videos in the past showing off the Warlord Games box sets, like unboxings and stuff, and then just kind of fell off the wagon. So I never got around to completing them. So it'd be nice to do them, because that just finishes off. I've done unboxings for all the Warlord game stuff, and then I'll have just showed off the painted miniatures for all the Warlord game stuff. And either we just look at doing a set of infantry for the live stream, just one regiment for the Confederates for this Warlord game stuff, or maybe I tag in some other, maybe we'll paint 2 or 3 regiments at the same time, just because I've got a ton of Studio Astoria stuff. So we could look at painting that up at the same time. So not them. Just going to dig them out and we can check them. Alright, that's them. As well as mixed in from some others. I think that's... So I bought some miniatures a while back, which are the Zouaves. I can't remember where I got them from now. Sort of the chasseur type Zouaves, which I was going to paint up as my 14th Brooklyn, but then Warlord Games released their 14th Brooklyn. So I've still got these, which I've said in the past, I won't go too much into it, I've said in the past I'm going to paint them up as an Indiana regiment. So, yeah. Anyway. So if we just paint this up as a single regiment, it's going to take a lot quicker. And then I'll do what I've done in the past, where we... I'll just put a poll up, and you guys can decide what we work on next, whether it's infantry, cavalry, artillery, or headquarters. So, because obviously, like, we had the Perry's, like, the only other examples is we had the Perry's ambulance, which we painted up, but that's because that was gifted to us from Mark. So that kind of took priority. And then Thomas very, very kindly donated the Fire Zouaves as well as a couple of these commands here. So that's why we've done them in that process. So, or order. So essentially, I want to get these guys painted. Kind of owe it to myself and the channel to get them painted. And then once that's done, I think we can possibly just go back to you guys deciding. So yeah, and these obviously similar to the Union stuff we painted up. They are actually nice. I like them. They've got nice detail. The Union stuff was enjoyable to paint. These are actually labelled as American Civil War infantry advancing, right? And you're like, okay, fine, but they're very clearly Confederates, purely because the officer is a Confederate officer. It's a bit like the other box sets being quite clearly Union, because they had officers with shoulder bars on and stuff. So yeah, these are quite clearly Confederate officers. So and they just look a lot more Confederate like all the infantry. So yeah, I think this is what we're going to do next. And then yeah, like I said, we'll go back to you guys choosing what we do. And then I've got to get a bit of time between streams and just crack on and finish off basing the Fire Zouaves and then all these chaps. But like I say, I'm going to look at getting a spray varnish in these, or I just risk it and not varnish them. I know, Thomas, you said you don't. I guess in reality, how battered and bruised are they going to get? Who knows? Probably not that bad. Right, let's put these back then. And then yeah, I think once we get these infantry done, we can go to a vote. But there is a lot we could be doing. We've got the Iron Brigade to finish off. We've got a load of Studio Historia stuff we can hit. We've got the Indiana. I think they're the 11th Indiana Zouaves. We've got them we could do. We've got some artillery we could do. We've got some more headquarter units we could do. And I'm not sure about cavalry. I don't know. I've got some cavalry on standby, but they're not quite finished. So yeah. David says you can get created with the mismatched uniforms of the Confederates. Yeah, exactly. I do like Confederates in blue trousers as well. Union sky blue trousers. I don't know. Something about it. I don't want to just button up and grey everything. So having that bit of colour in is quite nice. So yeah, I try do a few of them in blue trousers here and there. Again, like with my more like the Georgian regiments and stuff, I started to favour a bit more button up. Maybe Alabama as well. Virginia being quite grey. I know it's sort of loosey-goosey with that sort of thing, but it's nice to have uniformity through ununiformity, you know. If you've got a couple of Confederate brigades on the table, it'd be nice to have a different look between them. Rather than all just being all mix match, which, you know, it could potentially be historically right. But it'd be nice, say, like have one brigade, like a Virginian brigade, being quite in grey and stuff, and then having this Georgian brigade coming up in button-ups, and then having quite a clear difference between the... Because I guess, obviously, different states would supply uniforms. And yeah, if you really get into it, you can find out which regiments got their uniforms from which supply depot, and that supply depot would buy them from certain suppliers, and that's where you get certain coloured uniforms from. So, yeah. So Thomas says the sky blue trousers, AP Hills Light Division for Antietam would have it, which is a really cool idea, Thomas. It's a good choice. And then yeah, Grim says Confederates with uniformity. How heretical. Brain's not working, but yes. If you can believe it, it's maybe yeah. But like I said, it's that uniformity, but not. WS. Just going to look at the Wargames Illustrated magazine website and just see what the miniatures they've got. Maybe I won't. Anyway, occasional dark blue shirts recycled from casualties. Yeah, go for some steel in Union uniforms and stuff. It's a good idea. Good idea. Right, let's check that. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Do we think we just don't varnish these chaps? Because then I could just go on to chucking flags on them. Be interested to see what you think. But no, I'm happy with that now, because the Confederacy I'm going to have to do some more commands for, but at least I've got a command. The brigade commands I think is going to be quite easy, because you just a couple of figures is alright. It's just getting the flag bearers, to be honest. If I'm going mounted, it's having mounted flag bearers. Yeah, I've kind of taken a lot of them from the cavalry, Perry's plastic cavalry box set. And then I do have two more of the Union, or, well, were they Union? The Perry Miniatures metal flag bearers mounted. I don't know if they're Union specific or not, but I do have a couple more of them, so I could paint up them. So yeah, we can do it. Anyway, Thomas says my Louisiana brigade is entirely painted with a light blue grey as the colour of the that's because of the colour of the Union. God, what am I saying? Colour of the Louisiana state uniforms. Of the 5 regiments, 4 are in Louisiana state uniforms. The others are Wheat's Tigers. Yeah, and that's it's a nice bit of flavour, mate. And I think again, looking on the tabletop, it'd be nice. I remember a long time ago I batch paint like 6 or 5 regiments of Confederates, and all in the exact same paint scheme. Which, I mean, I was just batch painting and I was rattling through them, but I guess on the table it's less interesting to look at. Hello, Blake. Welcome in, Blake. How are you? Hope you're having a good Sunday, and I hope you had a good weekend and a good week. And that goes to all of you who joined a little bit later. I hope you're all right. Do share what you're working on, and if any of you are. We've just finished these commanders. I've just glued them on the base, and we're just chatting at the moment. I should probably start something else, but yeah, I do have a Union regiment sort of on there. In fact, yeah, let's just get that on the go. I don't want to end the stream early because we finished, but I don't want to stand here for 30 minutes not talking about anything. Yeah, I've got this was out of my not them. Out of my spares box, I sort of pieced together a Union regiment, which I was just painting up as a spare regiment. So, on memory, we're actually short on numbers. What's that? 20. There's 20 of them. Is that it then? Maybe it is then. 20 miniatures. So we should have 24, but there's 20 there. So we'll just do them up. David says, spray varnish, Winsor & Newton, pricey but used by artists to seal paintings. Colourforge is cheaper, but good. I've not tried Colourforge. I'm using a lot of their spray primers. Colourforge. I really like them. So maybe I'll check them out for varnish. Blake says, I'm currently working on 20th Main. Any tips to help? What tips do you want? Have you already got the miniatures? They're obviously a nice regiment to go for purely because they're popular due to films, etc. And the book, I guess. He wrote a book. Oh no, it's not. It's 21 miniatures. Right. No, they're a great a great regiment to go for. Certainly. We were. I've just put them away now, but I just had my Giants in Miniature. Let me search up that range. Giants in Miniature. Sell the Chamberlain Brothers. It is North Star. Sold through North Star, right? They sell their sculpts, and they're really, really nice sculpts, to be honest. So if you hadn't bought a HQ for that unit, you could look at them. So you've got Thomas with like a pistol, and then you've got the main man himself. Oh, yeah. Anyway, you got Joshua Chamberlain holding. Oh, actually, I don't know. Is that which one's which? I want to say Joshua's got the flag. He's holding the flag, and Thomas has got a sword and pistol. I've just read on the website they have only 500 will be made of these miniatures. I owned two at one point, two sets. So a chap who sold me his collection, I think I did a video about it, showing off what I bought. And I said, "Oh, I've already got these miniatures, but that's cool. I've got another pair." And he ended up messaging me back saying, "Actually, if you've already got a pair, do you mind if you send them back to me?" So I ended up posting them back, but I didn't realise only 500 would be made. So I almost had a monopoly on them by owning two. I could have had them all. I'm gonna see if I can. Right. Yeah, so I would have done all right off that if I had a couple. I could have sold them for hundreds of pounds in the future. But yeah, they're really nice. Again, I assume that you can still buy them, so they must still be in production. They haven't sold out of the 500, so they're cool looking miniatures. First Corps do a cool Joshua Chamberlain. I keep gonna say Lawrence Chamberlain because Thomas always calls him Lawrence in the film, but it's Joshua Chamberlain. Chamberlain. Yeah, First Corps do a nice sculpt. I've bought that. That he's currently my officer in the 20th main. Is the First Corps sculpt. David says a good point. First main, take more ammo. Yeah, that's a good tip. Thomas says I must get a set then. Always intended to pick one up, but just never did. Yeah, I mean they're £7, Thomas. £7 for the couple of sculpts, which ain't too bad. Each set comes with a numbered gift card. I'm pretty sure I bought mine through the main website, so I must have had that somewhere. I don't know. Anyway, Blake says I was about to watch your 20th main video when I saw you were live. Oh, nice. Yeah, so obviously, I mean, if you're gonna do the 20th main around Gettysburg, again, it's a nice regiment to do because it's quite popular. And yeah, it's one of the first regiments I started with, just because I watched the film and I was like, yeah, cool. So it's one of my first Union regiments. You could, I mean, it's up to you. You could do them in shooting, like firing poses. Obviously, they're battle at Little Round Top. So yeah, you could definitely have them in firing poses. It could work. Right, we're going to get on and paint these guys. I don't like that brush. Live and less yawning. I've been yawning a lot, sorry. I'll try to do better. So yeah, we'll get some paint on these chaps as a filler. I started these months ago. I'm just not. It's because when I picked up my Napoleonic French, they've kind of taken my spare time painting priorities. But I'm not even painting them at the moment, so. I need to get back into posting on Facebook as well, like in the main American Civil War pages, because I don't really post in there at the moment. I mean, I've not really had much to post in there. Oh, well, no, actually, that's not true. These live streams, I've actually painted a fair bit. I'll have to tally it up at some point. Maybe when we get to a year anniversary of the live streams, I'll tally up what we've actually painted, because yeah, we painted up a few regiments, infantry regiments, I think, some cavalry, quite a lot of artillery. So yeah, we've been busy. Again, this regiment here is just pieced together of like spare miniatures I've got. But look at this guy. Sort of crouched down. He's an officer. He's pointing. He's got a sword there. Quite like him. I think these are Redoubt, these miniatures. See, without first corps. They're both quite bulky. This is hard to know. Oh yeah, I guess what miniatures have you gone for, Blake? Have you just gone for periplastic, or have you picked up some metals? Again, I think if I was doing 20th main, I would definitely do firing poses, I think. I never used to like firing poses when I started my collection. I used to like them all marching. Don't know why. But that's sort of shifted over the years. Pretty sure this regiment here is the one I started painting. Is going to be one in Cutler's brigade. Yeah, I know I've got the 14th Brooklyn, but I don't think I've got any others designated to that brigade yet. So. Actually, I think these are Redoubts, because they came with separate heads. I don't know if First Corps do. Has anyone got any experience of First Corps? Very long time ago, I bought some First Corps English Civil War stuff, but and then apart from a few commanders, I've not really got anything from First Corps. I think I'll do my usual shill for Joy of Six. This is David. If you want to see the full battle on a 3x3 table over 1,000 minis, get yourself to Sheffield on 28th of June. I'll be putting on the Gaines Mill there. That'd be a nice, that'd be a good setup, mate. You have to share it on the Facebook when you get a chance. Yeah, I think June. I'm normally away in June. Say it's LARP season almost starts up, which is my other hobby, and that's April, June, July, September. So, Tom says I like front rank in charge, second rank in right shoulder shift or shoulder arms, only skirmishers and sharpshooters and firing poses. Yeah, yeah, I get that. I think I was in a similar mindset. But yeah, I don't know. Just some of the shooting poses looks nice, and have a shooting line, especially like some of these historic regiments you read up on. No, I said not historic, but you know, if you read up on some of them, and yeah, you find like if one of that regiment's done it, like say the first Minnesota at Gettysburg, when they do that massive charge and lose 90% to casualties. If I was doing them, I'd like to do them in charging poses to represent that. And again, like you could say the same with 20th Maine. They charge down the hill. Like I said, my whole collection is about 200 Perrys and a couple of generals on metal. My 20th Maine are Perrys, and I'm planning on making them charge with bayonets fixed. Oh yeah, there we go then. And that's a nice pose to have for them, just because it's quite an iconic moment in the, I guess, in the regimental history. Who could say? Anchoring the line for the Union. You could say, maybe you could say something similar like the 54th Massachusetts, because they assaulted Fort Wagner. You could do them in a charging pose. Mine are just marching, but yeah, that's the beauty of adding like a research element to your collection. You can find cool, like impressive things these regiments have done, and then use that to flavour your collection, which is nice. Um, all right. Yeah, I suppose mine stems from the Irish Brigade. A famous period image shows the front rank in charge and the second at right shoulder shift. I do like the talking about sort of charging and stuff. I do like the double quick poses that are out there. I know First Corps doing a really nice set of sculpts, which is double quick. Again, Studio Historia have sculpted some. One of my Iron Brigade's regiments is at double quick. I do like that pose as well.
Smart. It's like they're really rushing to the either the battle or rushing to parts of the field. Just looks smart, I think.
Anyway, David says Gainesmill, big-ish battle, small battlefield. That's why I chose Gainesmill for my first ever show game. I didn't realise it was your first ever, unless you've told me and I've just not taken. I struggle to retain information sometimes. But no, congrats on being your first game. I'm sure it's going to go well, but I'd love to see some shots of it going on. But yeah, not going so big for your first show game is a good idea, I think. Because yeah, there's plenty of stuff you can be doing in the game. You don't need it just being massive, I guess. I really want to put on a game at some point for the Winter Wonderland at Big Bristol Independent Gaming. I want to do an American Civil War Pickett's Charge one, but not confident enough yet. Mainly because I don't know enough about the rules. I don't play the rules enough to qualify to run a game. I mean, I don't think you need to know too much about it. You're an umpire, you can just make it up as you go. But no, it'd be nice to put on a good game for people. One day I'll do it. Alright, that took way too long. Paint 4 dudes' jackets. David says, Matt, I have a series of photos showing how I built the 3x3 contoured table for Gainesmill. Might make you a segment on a terrain/table building. Terrain is important as minis. Oh yeah, hang on, I've seen this, haven't I, David? Again, it's me retaining information. Something I don't do very well. But yeah, I think we've already seen all the table itself. I'm pretty sure you shared all that on the... If I can find it. I also have a few shots of Gainesmill in play. We'll post them. Oh, very nice, mate. Yeah, do so. Hello, Soraya. Welcome in. How's it going? It's going very well. We're about to end. We're about to end the stream, but thank you for popping by anyway. But yeah, no, I hope you had a good Sunday and a good week. Well, I technically spoke to you Saturday night, so. But no, I hope you had a good stream on Saturday anyway. But no, I hope you had a good Sunday. I've had a very busy Sunday. We're having some housework done, so I was doing all that today. And I've sat down and done some painting. But yes, I'm trying to think what happened Saturday, if I'm honest. Yeah, I was helping my sister out on the Saturday, so I was busy. And then yeah, Saturday night. I was kind of in and out of your stream because it was quite busy. I was doing stuff, and then I stayed up a little bit too late playing games. But no, I did have a good night, thank you. Adulting, very nice. Yeah, trying my best at being an adult. Oh yeah, David, I found the post. of you making the board. Very nice. Oh, that is nice though. Yeah, it's a great looking table, Dave. Especially like that scale works is quite nice. Very nice, mate. If anyone wants to know what I'm talking about, if you go onto the King Matt Asperia Facebook page, community page, you can find it there. Dave's posted on 15th of Feb, posted his Joy of Six games meal board, so you can actually see what he's going to be running, which is really cool. As well as some lovely photos from all of you, so I appreciate it. I should probably post more in there, to be honest, but I'm naughty like that, I guess. Dave says it's all right, Matt. I forget where I posted. No, that's fine. Again, like I see stuff, and especially if you chaps post it, say on my page and some of the American Civil War pages, then I forget where I've seen it. So I'll remember I've seen it, but then just forget where. So, but yeah, so we're at the point we're going to end the stream. We painted a couple of tops on these guys. They're just fillers. When we need a filler regiment, we got these guys. They're the placeholder regiment. They'll be called as. But yeah, we've got the commands done. So that is the end of the Gods and Generals Reynolds and Van Dorn series. 6 episodes, 6 installments, 6 streams. We've got there. And to say I'm happy with the result is an understatement. I'm extremely happy. I really like how they've turned out. Yeah, just making a shift to contrast paints. The idea was to speed things up and help me just chug through everything. But I just don't feel like I've dropped quality in my painting, to be honest. I'm still happy with the result. And yeah, they just look great. The sculpts again, massive thanks Thomas for giving these to the channel, but the sculpts themselves are nice as well, actually. They're nice. I mean, I really enjoy Perry Miniatures. I do really enjoy Perry Miniatures, but these are nice. These are really nice. There's a couple of companies out there that I'm just not convinced I like the sculpts, but no, these are really nice, and they're enjoyable to paint as well, which is more importantly. Here's just a mix of Perry's, plastics and metals for Wadsworth. Yeah, I've painted his hair white. Maybe it's a little too white, but and then yeah, here we go, Meredith. Again, Perry Miniatures here. This is, I've said before, this guy's a Confederate officer, which I've just actually shaved off his arm braid and painted him as a Union chap, and then here's. So there we go. So yeah, over the moon with them. Look, also we've got a couple more commands. Couple of commands from Wall of Games down there that we can paint as well. Mix that in at some point. And then yeah, it'd be interesting to see what comes from the future. Soraya, would you have a 3D printer? And yeah, I have 3D printed a lot actually. So I'll just quickly show them and then you can end the stream. These chaps are 3D printed and painted by myself. So yeah, I have done. I've got a lot of 3D printing stuff. I've 3D printed a lot of them, and they're sat there ready to be painted behind me. So yeah, 3D printing is absolutely an option. We do talk about it from time to time on the stream. And I was talking about earlier that it can be quite a bit of work to do the 3D printing. You've obviously got to buy the files. There is free stuff out there. Nothing that's tickled my pickle. on quality for the free stuff. I think if you pay for it, you're going to get a better job with that stuff. So you've got to pay for it. You've got to 3D print it. It's a lot of faff. And sometimes, you could just go pick a box off the shelf at your local shop, and there's your miniatures. You just glue them together. So there's pros and cons like anything. So yes, 3D printing is something I've done a lot of. It's taken a back seat in the last couple of years, or last year or so. And I've got so much sat behind me that I've printed that I need to paint. I don't feel the need to print anymore at the moment because I want to get through what I've got. But no, good question. So yes, I have 3D printed some. And I'll print some more at some point. Just I want to get through a big backlog of models at the moment. So yeah. But no, thank you very much. So yeah, I'm going to end the stream there. I massively appreciate everyone who's popped by tonight. Again, this is the end of the Gods and Generals, Reynolds and Van Dorn live stream. We'll be doing infantry next. We'll just do that Warlord Games infantry. And then once those, again, that might only take a few streams. And once that's done, we'll do a vote and we'll see what you guys want to do. We'll put it to the vote. So yeah. Again, please do check out Facebook page. Obviously, it's a great way to share what you're working on. I like looking at it as well as others. So go check that out. And then I've forgot what I was going to say. Anyway, if you're interested in what we got up to previously, obviously we've got our playlist. This video will end up in the playlist, this live stream. And then yeah, as always, everyone who's come watch this live, we've got Tim, Thomas, Dave, Mike Blake, Grim, Blake, Soraya, Mark. I don't want to miss anyone, so I'm just going to quickly flip through it all. But I think that's everyone. So I massively appreciate you all watching this live. Everyone watching this back on YouTube, again, a massive appreciation for getting this far. Fair play. I hope you have enjoyed the painting of the officers. I'm going to do some videos for the Warlord game stuff. That's something I wanted to do, is to get a video and just show them off. So hopefully that will happen at some point. Again, I've got a bit of a backlog of recordings that need to be edited, but we'll get through that. So yeah, massive thank you everybody. Enjoy the end of your Sunday, for maybe a bit longer for some of you than for us Brits, but thank you so much for stopping by. Have a wonderful week going forward, and we'll catch you all this time next week, because I'll definitely be here because I'm not doing anything else. So see you all then. Bye night everybody. Bye bye bye.